Now, here we are, round number 2 of the World Online Racing Championship here in F1 2021. First of all, if you haven't seen round 1, the last race at Spa, then go check it out. I'll leave a link up in the top right hand corner of your screen. But this weekend, we're here at Imola, a track which is a very, very difficult track to get right. Me personally, I haven't been able to practice much for this race. I was a bit busy over the weekend at the time of recording this, and yeah, I pretty much done about, I think, 30 minutes before the race, and even then, I wasn't feeling that confident because this track is very, very RNG, very random, very unpredictable, and luck-based, you know, depending on how you take certain curbs. Having said that, here are the current championship standings, and after the first race in Belgium, we are P7 in the Drivers' Championship with 6 points to our name. So, a pretty decent season opener. Berezne leads the championship right now. So, yeah, overall, can't complain, and hopefully we can try and get a couple of points here today in this race if all goes well. And we'll see what happens. My teammate Jake Benham this race, I believe, got a new wheel and pedals, so he's going to be a bit off the pace, along with myself, who is pretty much just under practice, basically. So, yeah, we're here at the end of Q1. Now, there's only 2 minutes to go, and I haven't done a lap yet. The reason for that is because it was a wet Q1 session. Eventually, it dried up towards the end, and everyone is going for a final run. Now, I'm fueled for 2 laps here, so if this first one is an absolute disaster, we'll go for a second lap. Into the first chicane, trying to tip the nose in. Being a bit safe, as it is my first lap in Q1, and we're kind of having to get used to it again, and the feeling of the car. Into the Variante Villeneuve, doing a pretty decent job through there, keeping it within track limits as we then head into the Tosa hairpin. Third gear corner, try to get a late apex and square off the exit. Use all the runoff curb on the right as we go uphill towards turn 9 at Bilatella. Very important corner this one to try and carry good corner speed. Didn't quite get enough inside curb, but still downhill into Acqua Minerale. On the brakes now for the second apex as we try to get back on the power. So far, not a terrible lap, a little bit safe, but you know, not too bad. Into the chicane, Variante Alta, 4th gear, trying to go over the curbs. Doing a pretty decent job there of, you know, having a clean run. And so far, I'd say it's been a clean lap. Not very fast, but just, you know, safe. And yeah, no big risks taken. Into the final corner now, making sure that we at least get this lap on the board. And it's going to be a let's see what it is, 14.2, so quite a bit off the pace actually, and it wasn't really enough. So you can see the shake of the head in the bottom left. We're going to go again and try to get a second lap in. So through the first chicane, carrying a bit more speed this time around. I haven't got a lot of ERS to work with, but I'm hoping I can still make up the time in the corners, and we'll take a bit of pain on the run to the finish. You can see through here we're up in the first sector by about 3/4 of a tenth, half a tenth, as we go into the hairpin again, trying to get a nice clean exit there. And so far, we're carrying that advantage as we head towards turn 9. This time we're going to try and carry a bit more speed, a bit more aggressive there on the apex as we now go over a tenth up into Acqua Minerale. Here we're going to try and get the car on the brakes, just about keep it under control, get a lovely exit, and we're now 10.5 up here. So this lap much better and right on the money. Into the chicane, being a bit safe this time around, but we do get really decent drive. Having said that, we have lost half a tenth, so even though it looked fast, it clearly wasn't that good. And now you can see we're suffering with the lack of ERS as we start to struggle and lose lap time on the end of the straight. We find a bit more time though through the final 2 corners, but then on the run to the line we have a bit of a snap, and then the rest of the time is going to bleed out due to ERS management. So unfortunately we matched pretty much our previous lap, but we're out in Q1 and P17 once again, just like the last race in Spa. And yeah, overall disappointing, because I do think I could have got through quite comfortably, but we just didn't quite clean up that first lap, you know, well enough. And the second lap was faster in the corners, but we lost a lot of time due to ERS. And yeah, overall, it was a bit of a messy one. It is what it is. In hindsight, I wish I'd gone out maybe a minute earlier. It would have given me time to go for a cool-off lap in between, and I maybe could have done a better final attempt. But still, you never know with these things. Either way, we're P17 behind Jack West and ahead of Lewis Welch. And then Primoz Miklavčić and Sam Corby, who didn't set laps on dries, they're going to be on the intermediate. So there's a lot. My teammate Jake threw in P7, so that's good to see. And yeah, that's qualifying. We're now going to move into the race. Now, here we are then for the race, and before we jump into anything, look at the weather forecast. We have rain halfway through the race. Now, unlike the last race in Spa, we're not going to make the same mistake twice. So, we're going to make sure we start on the soft tyres this time around, and then hopefully go straight onto the intermediate and then we'll see what happens after the rain period comes and goes. Fuel-wise, we're going to go for just 0.2 because I should be able to save in the wet conditions and also during the pit stops. So that's kind of the race intro rundown, if you will. So let's jump into the racing, shall we? As we get ready for the 5 red lights here at Imola. Can we make it a good start once again? Lights out, and away we go. It's a great launch, getting Jack West off the line. Also John Evans as well, who's on the medium. And straight away, we're up 2 places, making our way down towards Tamburello. Jack still on the outside here, but we're going to have the inside line. We managed to brake very late, almost running into the back of Jeffrey Ritchie, but we make a lovely move also around the outside of Liam Parnell, which gives us the inside line into the next sequence of corners. Side by side here with the Red Bulls, we leave plenty of space on the inside, but we get the move done around the outside. And just like that, we've made up 3 places on the opening lap already as we have a bit of a snap of oversteer. Jack West also getting past Liam Parnell. What a start.
Good start, Tom.
And yeah, really happy that even myself, I was really satisfied with that race start. It was right on the money, and we're already P14 on soft. So we'll try and push forward. We've got a few cars ahead of us on medium, I believe, so we should hopefully gain a few more places. Meanwhile, Jack West are looking for a move here into the chicane, but doesn't quite make it.
Where are you up to?
P14. Getting 3 places.
Nice.
I'm going to be a bus off the straight though. Now, if you watch qualifying back my second lap, Jack West actually moved out of the way at the end of my first run, and he done a lap right behind me on my second one. He got frustrated. He claimed that I held him up, even though I was going for 2 runs, and now he's behind me.
4 medium runners are the back 4.
Watch the conditions. We think there's rain coming pretty soon. Dries seem like the best tyre for now.
Rain should be starting any second, I think. Whoa, fucking hell. Now, speaking of which, you know, I know Jack's going to be driving with quite a bit of frustration.
So let's have damage.
Not that I'm aware of.
And again, he goes up the inside at the hairpin. We're going to leave space, but we'll get the drive and stay ahead. But I know Jack at this point is driving in frustration because I apparently held him up on my final qualifying lap. Little did he know that I was on 2 runs, but even still, I watched the stream back. He was absolutely fuming. And yeah, I'm a little bit concerned at this point because I know he's probably driving in anger, and that's usually not a good thing. Now, I want to try and get past Jeffrey Ritchie here, but I am struggling for balance myself. The car feels a little bit all over the place at this stage of the race with the fuel on board.
Oh, I made a big mistake.
And you can hear Jake struggling ahead as he makes a bit of a mistake. Having said that, I'm trying to be cautious with the ERS. I don't want to drain it all if I can avoid it, because ERS, once you use it around here, you can't get it back. It doesn't recharge, it doesn't recover. It's literally impossible. So you have to be, you know, smart as of when you use it. Now, at the final corner here, we're going to use a bit of ERS, but Jack's going to keep his ERS switched on. And you can see on the run towards turn 1, we're going to kind of all come together as we run down towards the first corner. Now, I could have gone for the move on Jeffrey here. I decided to back off. On the other hand, though, Jack's going to go for the move into turn 1. Now, turn 2, we have contact into the chicane.
Can you keep an eye on Simon's ERS, please?
Yeah, Alvaro's the same as you. Oh.
And unfortunately...
F.
Yeah. And unfortunately, we get caught up in a spin. I'd say it's a 50-50 racing incident. I think I should have probably backed out, but there was, you know, I think I deserved more space. I was pretty much alongside of you, pull up the frame and pause it, which I've watched a few times. We get a warning for track limits on lap 4 as the rain is starting to fall now, but we are a long way off the cars ahead. So right now we are completely reliant on a safety car. On to lap 5 though, I'm going to gamble here because the rain is starting to come down and I'm in last place. Oh, track's getting bad.
Tell you the leader's lap time.
ETA on this rain clearing up is about 10 minutes, so just keep your concentration out there.
Shanik's 2 seconds off.
Understood.
I'm gonna
Stopping
pit.
this lap.
I'm going to pit. Fuck it.
I think it's worth a risk.
Oh my god, that is the worst pitch of all time. I completely misjudged the thing.
Mate, I've got no pace.
Go,
I
go,
feel like
go.
the track was getting really bad really quick.
Yeah, lights are flashing. Or is that just Alvaro?
No, Josh uses as well.
So yeah, we're going to gamble intermediates on the car and we're going to see if we can make them work. You never know. If this is a great decision, we might gain quite a bit and get ourselves back in the race, and if we lose because we're already towards the back. So yeah, that's kind of the risk you have to take, you know, after an incident. You have to just gamble and see what happens. So yeah, back on the way then. The grip isn't great.
Yeah, everyone's going to be pitting.
and Jake's saying everyone's going to pit, which is to be expected, but the group isn't fantastic right now. It isn't fully intermediates just yet. I'd say it's pretty much on the crossover. If I'd had a choice, I would have pit on this lap right now and not the one before, but because I was last, I had to gamble and try something different. Need a safety car. Overall, I didn't gain anything. You can hear me say in the background, I need a safety car because that's the only way I'm getting back into this race, and that is just unfortunately the reality. So we'll keep going. We won't retire. I know most people like to do that, but we'll stay in the race because I do believe in second chances. You might get something come your way. Obviously in the lap 7, we've got John Evans in the pits along with Primoz Miklacic and Jack West as well. So we are going to gain 1 place and move up to P18. Sam Corby in the pit lane as well. And yeah, all the way to lap 14 now, quite a bit later. We've caught up to this pack of cars who are battling away. So John Evans, Jack West, we've caught back up after the spin. And also we've got Keelan Lutt as well. And now, Lewis is fucking gone.
Caution, caution.
Lewis Welch loses it out the final corner, goes for a spin. So we gain a place. And we're now behind Jack West. We're back after Jack spun me out in the first lap behind him. And you can hear me say exactly that. So after the spin, we're back in the race, to some extent anyway, and we can fight. We should have caught the safety car. Fuck. No, we put me right back in the race with the penalties and everything. I was just kind of joking there, saying Lewis should have caught the safety car that would have got me back in the race, but anyway, we can now fight.
Okay, the weather's certainly eased off for the time being, but we've still got a lot of standing water out there. We're happy for you to stay out on the Inters for now.
Now, I did gamble on setup. I went a bit more higher on the wings for the wet weather.
Inters look like the best tyre for now.
Rain stopped, by the way. Don't get a weather update, but the rain has now stopped. Into turn 1 though, John Evans runs it in hot, and that's going to allow Keelan to go by. Also, Jack West is going to try and pounce and make a move, and John trying to fight back here, but he has to fall in line, and that's going to give us now an opportunity to maybe have a look at him as he has a bit slow at the chicane.
Might gamble it.
We're going to go to the outside into Tosa on lap 16 of this race, side by side with John Evans, and we're going to go for a drag race up the hill towards turn 9 at Bidadella. Side by side here with the F1 Esports Challenger driver. Up the inside goes John. We're going to leave some space. We're trying to drag him.
It's not a perfect situation, but I don't think we have cause to move on to a different tyre yet.
But we have to yield and let John go ahead.
Look yourself.
That's alright. Come on.
Diamond penalty.
Yeah. I can have a bit of fun with John. I know he'll respect me a little bit, so. Not too sure about Primrose though. Now we go on to lap 17 and everyone's kind of falling back in line at this point. And at this moment of the race, we're kind of considering, do we go for dryers and try something different? There's a lot of penalties around us. We don't have one just yet, and hopefully we keep it that way. So we're doing a good job so far.
Screw it.
Yeah, Josh Pitts.
Just gonna go for it.
Yeah, I think you made the right decision there.
The pit box is currently full.
Just onto mediums.
Stay out on track.
I'm going to follow.
What? Let me get to the engineer. Doesn't even let me ask the engineer.
So if anyone goes soft.
Complete, go now.
Everyone's medium around me.
Yeah, everyone's medium.
Shout out Daniel.
Ready?
Is it ready?
No.
How far?
Decent amount.
Right.
Josh lost half a second.
Now this was unfortunately the final straw. This was a wrong decision. We went too early. I think in hindsight, I was discussing with Luke, our engineer for this race, if we could go a bit longer onto the softs. But we all agreed to do this, and it was the wrong decision. In hindsight, if I could have stretched this to lap 18, 19, maybe even 20, and then I had a fresh set of softs saved up from qualifying, I could have gone for that option because the softs are so much faster around here. But instead, we went for this option. It backfired, and even like now, John Evans is going to retire because we're so far off the leaders.
Green flag.
So yeah, at this point, we've got about 13 laps to go. I am just praying for a safety car. That is just our only way back.
Josh's got another pen.
If I just got one safety car, it's going to be right in the race with all the pens right now. It would get me right back in.
Yeah.
I could finish where I'm on track, P17, but because of the pens, I'll actually have a chance at points.
Yeah, 7 have got pens so far. I think we'll start and see a bit of desperation now, so we might see.
I'll hold out, I just hope I don't leave it too late.
Josh in again.
Yeah, I think he's retiring.
Now, Josh Idaru retires on lap 21, and I think Keelan Lutt in the other McLaren is also in the pits. Either way, we should get in a couple of places. Right now, though, we are in last. Keelan Lutt in as well. I'm just going to get in places.
Okay,
I don't mind. I'm taking this. So, Keelan retires along with Josh, and we're now up to P15. This is a W in my book. And yeah, again, if this safety car arrives, we're going to be loving life because we don't have a penalty, unlike most other cars on track right now at this stage. Now, all I could do really was try to keep up with Jack West, and the gap is 1.4, then it went up to 2 seconds. I just didn't have that raw pace in the medium, and Jack was gradually pulling away from us.
Oh!
Yellow flag.
Dutch next round.
And we've got a spin. Piotr Stashilek down at the toes of hairpin. I was praying for the safety car at this point. This would have been perfect timing, but unfortunately, it just wasn't going to turn up today in this race. Yeah, Primoz was behind me, man. He gained so much by staying out on the inters in the box with the softs. Fucking up 13 seconds behind him. Now, you just heard there what I said. Primoz was behind me when I pit for the mediums, and look at the gap he's got by staying out 2 more laps on the inter and going soft. He managed to get a 17-second gap. That's how much time we lost. Had we been, you know, where he is on track, without penalties, we could have actually scored points. But unfortunately, it is what it is. The spin kind of relegated us to nothing, and then we tried to fight back, but we made the wrong call for the medium. So there's the race at Imola. Not really what we wanted, and yeah, we move on to the next one. And after what was a disappointing race, I'm not really mad from that pace. It is what it is. You know, practice, you don't get shit. But I'm not really fast around it. And here are the final results, and you can see, unfortunately, Jake Benham finished in P11. Of course, he was also part of the wrong decision to go for the medium on that final stint. And also, like I said before in the intro, he was running a new set of wheel and pedals, so he wasn't fully on the pace. So it's no points for us this race. A really disappointing event for us. Just the 6 points that I scored in Spa so far for us as a team to our name right now. Hopefully things will improve in round 3, but so far this is my first non-point scoring finish of the entire new league racing season if you combine WR and PSGL. So yeah, not ideal, but you know, sometimes it goes your way, sometimes it don't. For this one, we got a bit unlucky with a spin, and you know, also I hold my hands up, I didn't practice enough, and that is the reality. So yeah, there's the race for Imola. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like, subscribe for more daily F1 content. I promise you the next league racing video will be better. That is going to be PSGL Monaco, and a very crazy race, so do tune in for that one. I'll upload that in a few days time. But yeah, as always, a massive shout out to the members for supporting the content. Finally, check out the 2 videos on screen if you haven't seen them. But that is it from me here today, and I'll see all of you in the next one. Adios.